Hello, everybody. It's me, your boy, Cryptid. So, we have some big information for Wuthering Waves. They are finally adding a elemental reaction system. I know they've already kind of been dipping their toes a little bit in it with the whole spectral frazzle, but now they're really going in deep with it, and they're adding a bunch of negative status effects. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it and see what we have to expect. Obviously, first one being Spectral Frazzle. We already have a set related to it, and I hope we get more sets related to the debuffs because I'm about the debuffs. I'm really about changing up everything. So during battle, it's gonna stack. It comes in 6 types, each carrying different effects. All right. So Special Frazzle. The Special Frazzle, I believe it goes off the same. Yes, it goes off the same formula that I believe Genshin goes off of, where it goes off of your character's level and then the enemy's stats like defense and damage resist. So it's going to go a little bit. A Special Frazzle effect deals spectral damage to the target at rectal intervals during its duration. So it's just an actual dot. All right. So we're getting dot characters into the game. It's not just going to be solely just hit them head on, do as much frontal damage as possible. We're getting a little bit more into a dot-ish kind of a system. I wonder if you can make it to where this dot does equivalent damage to just building pure damage, or if it's just a very negligible dot. That's going to be something I really want to, because the only character we can really do anything with is going to be Spectral Rover. Can't talk. Spectro Rover. So with Phoebe coming out, hopefully we can get a good representation of how good this can perform with 2 Spectro DPS doing it. And the number stacks is not influenced by your attack crit rate or other factors. It is purely off of your resonator's level. I believe, yes, so they go into detail about the Spectral Rover. It has a special effect, Shimmer, that's just on the rover for right now, where essentially you can stop the stacks from diminishing, because every time the frazzle does damage, it'll go down in stack. So if it's at 6, does damage, goes to 5. Now, if you have Shimmer on the character, it stops the stacking completely for a set amount of time, so you can get as high stacks as possible. Now, I don't know how high the stacks you can get, but it really is very essential to have Rover, I would believe, on Phoebe's team, just because of the Shimmer debuff that you can have. And it just, between the two of them, they stack a lot. Rover does 2 stacks with the empowered effect, and then does 6 with the ultimate. And then Phoebe does a bunch. She does 5 stacks with her heavy attack, and then upon entering confession, she can perform 2 heavy attack Starlight Flash twice, or Star Flash twice. So that's 10 stacks. So it's really interesting if it can go up to an extremely high level, or if it's just like you can get to like 20. Because if you get to 20, you can get it maxed out pretty fast, especially with Shimmer. But it just matters how high it can be. All right, so the absolution status. Let's see here. Increased combat strength against. Okay, so she gets stronger with the Spectral Frazzle effect. And enhances her damage multiplier on her heavy attack. And under absolution, she can perform it 4 times. That's crazy. It's really she really focuses hard on just having this effect on there. I would say you can't really play her. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be very optimal to play her with the Rover in particular, which is crazy to think that the Rover is still a very viable unit on plenty of teams. And a new character just coming out, just asking to have the Rover. The very base Rover, the one you get at level 1, is still viable in the game. It's not a new form. That is incredible. Negative stacks vest can enhanced by certain weapons, sonata effects, and echo skills. Okay. I haven't really been paying too much attention just for the fact that I don't have a Spectro DPS. I don't use Spectro Rover, and I don't have a Gency or anything like that. So I haven't paid too much attention to the Spectro sets or anything like that. I might have to start looking at other sets to see about upcoming characters coming out. Now, here are the other effects. So we got Arrow Erosion. Certain arrow attacks will inflict a stackable arrow erosion on enemies. It inflicts arrow damage on the target at regular intervals as long as it lasts, with more stacks resulting in greater damage. Now, is it just going to be the same thing but different elements? I hope not. Certain Havoc attacks will inflict Havoc Bane on enemies. When Havoc Bane accumulates stacks automatically while it remains active. Once it reaches its maximum stacks, it deals Havoc damage to the target, removes Havoc Bane, and applies... Okay. So it's like a little time bomb that spreads like a little plague. Okay, that's cool. It'll be good for AoE, but I don't see this really doing much for TOA. I feel like this is kind of just meh. Okay. So Fusion Burst. Certain fusion attacks inflict a stackable fusion burst on enemies. Once Fusion Burst hits max stacks, it ignites and removes those stacks, dealing fusion damage. So I'm seeing a trend. So for Spectro and Arrow so far, it's just a stacking dot that you put on the character. For Havoc and Fire Fusion, it just you mark them. Over time it stacks. Once it max stacks, it's just a little explosion. This really depends on how much explosion that it does, because I don't see this really being anything that'll like pop up like, oh, I can't wait for my Havoc Beam to explode. Kind of seems a bit meh. Glacio Chafe, stackable Glacio Chafe. As the stacks increase, the target's speed gradually decreases. Upon reaching max stacks, the target is frozen and stacks of... Okay, this is nice. This will put Glacio units, if anything, a little bit into a good spot, even if they're not good units. But we still have, Carlotta, and we have Sanwa, which are very widely used characters right now. Sanwa is on almost any team that uses either basic attacks or just wants a fast re-intro. This is pretty nice because Sanwa is going to be doing this. Now, depending on how long it lasts, I don't know if Sanwa will be able to get this off, because it's not like the Fusion Burst where it just stacks on its own. Or, no, it doesn't stack on its own. Havoc stacks on its own, and Fusion Burst stacks on each hit. Okay. So, I think only Carlotta at the moment that people use will be able to get Glacio off, because people really only do like 2 hits with Sanwa and then they switch out. But this could be pretty cool. Electro Flare. Certain electro attacks inflict a stackable electro flare on enemies. While electro flare is active, it weakens the target's attack with more stacks, further reducing their strength. Okay, this one's pretty meh. I feel like this one is probably the worst out of them, because the whole point of the game is to not get hit. And I feel like this is probably the worst one. They in my opinion, they need to redo this one. Every one of these does at least some damage or have some nice effects to it, right? This does nothing. The whole point of the game is to dodge, parry, and then kill the enemy faster than they get you, right? What is this going to do for you? This is quite literally just for players that, frankly, are too bad to dodge effectively and that keep getting hit in the face over and over and over again. Just get better and replace this passive. This is quite worthless. It doesn't do passive damage. It literally just weakens their attack. Unless this weakens them to where they quite literally can't even phase you, it's worthless. The worst passive, hands down. If I were to give them any recommendations, I would be happy with just a passive dot or something. Or maybe when you stack it up kind of like Fusion Burst or Havoc, right? You either stack it up automatically over time or with different attacks, right? And you cause a minor chain lightning effect radiating off of the main enemy. So enemies around it do just slight sparks to each other, and they just chain in between each other into a little bit like that. And then when it's not changing to anyone, it does a slight electric dot on the main unit, and it gets empowered when it's by itself. But when it spreads damage when it's next to enemies. I feel like that's a much better idea, and I just came up with it on the spot. But besides the electric one, which is hot garbage, I think the other ones are pretty good. I like that they're doing different echoes and weapons and everything that can affect the different arrow and different debuffs, right? I feel like it's great that they're adding to the game when it's still early into the game, honestly. The game hasn't even been out that long, and they're already trying to shake things up, which is great because they're innovative. They're trying to add things to the game to make it more interactive, to make you have to think about it, to make sure it's not stale. They're doing great, and I hope they continue on with it. I know this is like their official post and everything. Please, Kuro, if I were to ask you of anything, reforge this to something else, right? This is just not going to do anyone any good. It's going to make the people who get hit too much keep getting hit and not learn their lesson, right? But that's it. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it, and have a good one. Peace.